What's up? This is episode 67 of Release Rotation. I'm your host, John W. Snyder. I'm laughing because I just watched the Clippers, who were down 31 points to the Warriors in Oracle Arena, come back from 31 points and beat the Warriors and tie up the series 1-1. I can't even imagine. The spread was like 13.5. The Warriors were favored. I laugh at, do you know how many people on the East Coast probably turned that thing off when it was out of reach, supposedly? I also want to know how many people on the East Coast turned that off who had bet on the Warriors thinking they had that sealed. And then the Clippers just come out and win it outright. Forget the spread. Oh, man. That is some funny stuff. I love it. I don't want to see the Warriors win for many, many reasons. But, oh my gosh. I still can't believe what I just witnessed. I don't understand. The Clippers scored like 85 points in the second half. They had 44 in the third and 41 in the fourth to beat the Warriors. It's the most points the Clippers have scored in a playoff game since like the 70s, I think, is what I saw. These playoffs are wild. Oh, man. If you got to see that and watch that, then that is something I'm not sure we'll see for a very long time. It's incredible. Patrick Beverley just hounding Kevin Durant all game. He fouls out. Then Kevin Durant fouls out on an illegal screen because he looked like he was trying to sit in a chair as he was setting a screen with his butt. He fouled himself out. I think Kevin Durant, his last 3 fouls were all offensive from when I was watching the game. I mean, insane. Crazy. Good for the Clippers. So now they go back to LA 1-1 with all the momentum. And this sucks to top it off. Boogie Cousins is probably done from what the reports are, but who knows? He's going to have an MRI tomorrow, and they'll go from there. But holy cow, what a game. I love the NBA. The pettiness and the basketball part of it. Insane. Wow. Let's move on from that because it's crazy. I have nothing else to say. Insane. Go watch the highlights. Yesterday, my Thunder played the Trailblazers. They're down 0-1 right now. They should have lost by 30. At halftime, they were 11% from 3-point and like 35% from the field, and they were only down 6 at half. And then they, couldn't overcome. They were down by 19 early on in the game. But new game. Game 2's tomorrow. So we'll see what happens tomorrow. But holy cow. What a night of basketball. And then I'm still thinking about the Clippers and how they did that and what they did. Insane. But the Thunder, they swept the Trailblazers in the regular season. Who knows about Paul George's shoulder or shoulders? Last game he had tape on both shoulders. So who knows? But sorry, I'm still laughing about the Clippers. I can't believe it. Anyway, sorry. so thrown off. But Thunder down 0-1, but I think they win the next 3 for sure. So I think they'll be up 3-1 in no time. But we'll see what happens tomorrow night. Could be way off if they play like they did last night, but I don't think that's going to happen. So game 2's tomorrow. Tiger Woods. How about that I can't talk, sorry. I should be in bed right now. Again, it's another late night, but I had to stay up and watch that game. Tiger Woods, that was my segue. What a story. His last major was the U.S. Open that he won in 2008. His last Masters was in 2005. Everyone counted him out. I'm sure there were a few people that didn't. Insane. Insane what Tiger Woods did. I think it's awesome. When I knew for sure that Ricky Fowler didn't have a chance, I was Team Tiger the rest of the way. Tiger Woods was and always has been good for golf, and insane what Tiger did at his age and after everything that happened to him. It's insane. I was looking back here, August 8th, 2014, I tweeted, Tiger Woods is finished, right? No way he wins another major. Fast forward 4.5 years, Tiger Woods wins another major, the Masters, which I think is the best of all the majors. There's just something about the Masters. If you're a golf fan, you probably agree. Maybe you agree, I don't know. I love that it's played at the same course, and there's just something about it. And the fact that Tiger was able to come in and win the Masters, incredible. I hope this is some momentum for him, which why wouldn't it be? I haven't seen if he's going to take this next week off or next couple weeks. I feel like I would. But we'll see. Maybe he won't. Maybe he's just roaring and ready to go. But holy cow, Tiger Woods. Is he back? Was this a one-off? We'll find out. We've got 3 majors left. That was the first of the year, so we'll see what Tiger can do from here on out. It'll be fun, that's for sure. It's good for golf, like I said. So we'll see what happens the rest of the way, but I would love to see Ricky win a major. So obviously I'll be cheering for him and the other Oklahoma State guys, but particularly Ricky. And so now my 3.5-year-old son, anytime golf's on, he asks if Ricky Fowler's playing, so that's good. So Ricky, I know you're probably listening to this podcast, so you have a fan out here, 3.5-year-old. Ricky's not listening. I know he's not. But 3 more majors. They got the British, the PGA, the U.S. Open. We'll see what happens in those. We'll see how Tiger does. Hopefully he can stay healthy. And I would love to see him win some more majors. So we'll be right back after this quick break. And we're back. So if you listened to my podcast last week, you'll know that I talked about how my name was on a no-fly list. And I'm not sure if it still is. I haven't been able to look into it, but I probably should. But this week, I want to tell a story about math. I'm just going to straight up and say, I think adding and subtracting, dividing and multiplying, percentages, angles, degrees, I think that stuff is very, very important. A lot of geometry, I think, is important in life. I don't think that about algebra. Maybe that's not a very popular take, but I think algebra is so stupid. I don't know why I ever had to take algebra. I feel like the only reason I took it is to tell this story. If you're a mathematician, if you have a degree in mathology, what is it? Mathematics? There we go. Wow. I'm not surprised though. Then maybe you love algebra. I, for one, just hated it. And math in general, I'm not a fan of. I have to do a lot of math for my job. Not a lot, but maybe it's a lot to me. To the normal person, it's nothing, I'm sure. But algebra just makes zero sense to me. And the story I'm going to tell, I should have known what was going to happen when the first C I ever got in school on a report card was in 4th grade. And I got a C in math. So shout out to Mrs. Roberts for giving me my first C ever. Appreciate that. Really set me on course to excel in math. I don't even know if Mrs. Roberts is still alive, but she was my 4th grade teacher. I don't remember much about her. At the time, I felt like she was in her 70s, but she was probably in her 40s, because that's how it works when you're 9. If anyone's over 40, 45, you think they're 90. So, who knows? But shout out to Mrs. Roberts for giving me that C in math. I get through elementary school, I get to junior high. Some of my friends are taking different math classes, all these tests, whatever. I don't understand why they are. You get to high school. I take math, geometry. I don't even know how I got through, and I didn't realize, now I don't understand how many math classes there are, because when I was a senior in high school, I was in a math class with a bunch of sophomores. I think it was Algebra 1 is what I think that was. And that's the class I was in as a senior in high school with a bunch of sophomores. There was a kid in my class, my sophomore class, or that math class, who was a sophomore. He rear-ended me one day on the way to school. I might have to tell that story next week, because that's a really funny story. I was dressed as a porcupine, but I'll save that for next week. But in that class, I was in there with a bunch of sophomores taking Algebra 1. I think I got a B in there. Don't know how, but I did. Oh, and another class that was horrible was chemistry. I was horrible in chemistry. I don't know how I passed chemistry. I don't know. Probably enough extra credit, to be honest. Who knows? But chemistry made zero sense to me. Probably less sense to me than algebra did. So I get to college, graduated high school, don't worry, in 4 years. Get to college, and my degree's in broadcast journalism, so I have to take all these undergrad courses, which is also really stupid. Let me just focus on what I want to focus on, rather than making me have to take some of these stupid classes. That's how I feel about school. College. I want to take classes that intrigue me, that I want to learn about, not classes that I have to struggle through. but that's a whole other topic. But I get to college, and I have to take algebra and statistics are my requirements. And so my freshman year, I took algebra my second semester. I avoided it my first somehow. And my second semester, I don't know how many weeks were left in the class, but it was the last week you could drop the class, even though I still had to like pay for it or pay for a percentage of it. I had an F, and I wasn't going to get out of having an F. I was going to fail no matter what. So I dropped the class the last day that I could. I was going to write it out till then to see if I could get that up to a C maybe. But no. So I drop it. Okay, whatever. Talk to my advisor. We chat. She knows, I'm horrible at math, which is crazy. All my journalism classes, I had A's and B's. I think really all A's. I should get my transcripts just to see, but those classes I loved. But anyways, I drop it, So the next year, I avoided taking math again in the fall, and so spring I'm like, all right, let's do it. Taking my math class, my algebra, college algebra, and got an F. There's not a lot of class left. It's coming up to the last week or so to drop it before you have to finish it out and get an F. And my parents said, nope, you're going to finish this semester. We're going to get you a tutor. You're going to do great. So I get a tutor, and bless her heart, she did her best. She was actually my Algebra 1 teacher in high school. So that's who my tutor was to try to help me get through college algebra. I tutor, whatever, work my butt off, and I got an F. So I dropped it once, then I get an F. So I go to my advisor. She's like, you're not good at math. And I'm like, yeah, I know. Like, we've talked about this, obviously, more than once now. And so she says, whatever, we're talking. She's like, let me do some work. Let's figure this out. Whatever. Because I'm trying to figure out my classes for the next semester. Whatever. There was a few days later, I come back, and she says, there's a math class you can take, and I think we can get it to count as college algebra. Like, I seriously need to get my transcripts because I feel like it was called basic math or just math. No joke. I don't know how she got me in this class. I don't remember one person in that class because I would go, do my work, leave, study, whatever, take my test. I didn't want to be there because it was math. I don't remember doing any algebra in that class. I'm sure I did, but I don't remember. And got a B. And so that's my story of math and how horrible I am at it. I'm not sure why I wanted to tell this story. I guess it's just part of my journey of failing at certain things. And if you were to give me a basic algebra question today, I don't believe I would be able to solve it. That could be a fun test. I might try it. But I don't think there's any way I would solve an algebra equation today at all without any help. But I got a B in whatever random math class that was. I don't know what strings my advisor pulled. She probably wanted to get rid of me. Because if you heard me in a previous podcast, I talked about how I crammed 5.5 years of college or 4 years of college into, I'd never say it right. Ruin that joke. I crammed 4 years of college into 5.5 is the joke. And that's what I did. And I'm going to blame it on math. Also, and then I had to take statistics. I got a D in that class. So, I don't know. Math is hard. But that story is funny to me. And most of my friends, my friends told me I should tell that story. Probably just so they can make fun of me. Which I'm okay with. Because I know I'm bad at math. It'd be different, those people who go on American Idol who think they can sing and their friends and family are like, yeah, you should apply for American Idol, and they're horrible and they don't know it. At least with this, I know I'm horrible at math. I shouldn't say math. I should say algebra, because it's the worst and it shouldn't be required if I had my way with the education system. No algebra. Anyways, that's my story. If you know me, if you follow me on Twitter at JOHNWSNYDER at John W. Snyder, or on Instagram, tell me your math story. I want to hear it. How good you are at math, or how bad you are, and if you've ever failed a college algebra class, or any algebra class for that matter, let me know. And especially if you've done it twice, because that is special. This was episode 60 of Release Rotation. Thanks for listening. We'll talk later.